Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Nice foggy morning out there. Some of you online, which is a good thing. Hopefully you had a good week last week, and this week will be even better. My inspirator does not appear to be online. However, he is here. Les, he just popped in. Good timing. Les, do you have some words of inspiration for us today? As he's organizing his iPad.
Yes, I do. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I talked to Steve. Steve's not coming today?
He's here. You inspire first, though.
Oh, okay. Let me get my thing here. Well, my inspirational first one is that I have Zoom and I looked out my window and I couldn't even see my car in the driveway. So my inspirational is thanks for Zoom. But what I really wrote about is when you do something, you give 100%. At the end of the day, if you win, you lose, or you break even, and you can look in the mirror and say, hey, I gave it my best job. That's all that matters.
All right, very nice. Thank you, Les.
You're welcome.
Pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Couple of announcements. We do have an open house coming on the 10th, so definitely invite everybody you know, potential Toastmasters online or in person. We prefer in person so we can have a big group. Jill is organizing that. Do you want to say anything about that, Jill, or is that good enough?
Yeah, I think you're good enough.
Okay, so the officers will deal with some details there and make sure we got some goodies here and some information for prospective Toastmasters. Carol has gone into Roswell, so that was sad news that I had to deliver today. So send her some get well cards if you can, and we'll do them with the club. I just heard about that this morning. In regards to the agenda, she is on the agenda today. Nancy Ferry is going to take her role as quizmaster. Without further ado, let's introduce our Toastmaster of the day, Steve Smith.
Thank you. When I was informed I was a Toastmaster this week, I should have known because I should have looked. I didn't. So it kind of caught me flat-footed, but okay, what's going on in my life right now? And the big thing hit me, transition. We've just passed Halloween, which is a big holiday. And I found out that Jill's an even bigger nut for Halloween than I am. So we had a great setup down there. Now, as soon as you hit Halloween, it's November. Halloween's over. Now we have to put all of that stuff away and look forward to what's next, which is many things. And I'll get into some of that. Let's get right to it. Beth Banks has volunteered to be our word master. I hope she's out there somewhere. Can we get a word of the day? Oh, pay attention. Can't see with my glasses on. Okay, there she is. Yeah.
It's foggy out there.
Yeah, it is.
I really don't like fog. So yeah, I was slow. My word for the day is overindulgence. This could be food or all those things that we buy. It is a noun. It is the action or fact of having too much of something enjoyable. Or number 2 is excessive gratification of a person's wishes. Whichever you want to do, but I'll put that up. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have our Master / grammarian, Jackie Kenny. Can you tell us what you're going to do today?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Whatever.
We'll do something
Yeah.
here. I will be listening for both good expressions of language and also something that's a little more poor. And also things like pregnant pauses or ahs or ums, and I'll be reporting at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, next we have our quote master. Now, Kate was one of the only people that didn't respond, so I don't know if she's out there or not today.
He is online.
She is online. So Kate, can you give us a quote? And it's such a good quote, we'll get back to that. Moving right along, our jester today is Margot Sue Bittner. Margot, have you got something funny to tell us?
I hope so. Good morning, everyone. So Harry and Harriet were a very lovely couple, and they raised two wonderful, wonderful children. And they kept in touch with their kids as they grew up and raised their own families and moved away. But one day Harry called his son and was talking to him and said, Junior, let me tell you something that's going on. I am sick to death of your mother overindulgences. She shops, she does this. I've decided she has 2 weeks and I'm throwing her out. Well, Junior, of course, gets very upset. What's he going to do? So after they talk for a while, Harry says, I'm too upset about this, and he hangs up the phone. Junior calls his sister and says, hey, Sissy, have you spoken to Mom or Dad? She says, no. He says, well, let me tell you what Dad just told me. Well, Sissy panics, says, I'm calling Mom. So she calls Mom and they're talking. She says, so Mom, Junior had a really interesting conversation with Dad. She goes, oh, you heard about the bum. I'm sick of his buying everything in the site and doing this. And she's going on and on. I'm throwing him out in 2 weeks. Well, they keep talking about what's going on and phone calls fly between all the different members of the family. Finally, Junior and Sissy talk. They call their parents and they say, look, we're coming down with our families next Tuesday. Don't do anything until Tuesday when we all get there and we sit down and talk. And after some convincing, Harry and Harriet agree to their children's conditions. They hang up the phone. Harry turns to Harriet and says, well, I got our kids here for Thanksgiving. You get them here for Christmas, Mr. Toastmaster.
Next on our list is our timer, who today is Jen Zapla. Can you tell us of your duties?
Sure, Steve, I can do that. I will be the timer today, and timing is very important both in life and especially in Toastmasters. It's important to make sure that we are coming in on time and respecting other people's time. So today, for your table topics, speeches, and evaluations, you should try your best to meet your minimum time requirements. Speeches will be 5 to 7 minutes unless I'm told otherwise. Table topics at 1.5 to 2, and evaluations at 2 to 3 minutes. When you have fulfilled that time and you're getting close to the end of your time, you'll see this yellow light. And when you have reached your maximum time, that is time for you to respect other people's time and close up your speech quickly. Thank you.
Stepping up to fill in for Quizmaster today is Nancy Ferry. Can you tell us what you're about to do?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. As Quizmaster, I will be listening, and I hope you're listening. And at the end, I will ask questions, and some of them may be a little tricky. I'm not sure.
Now, most important for last is the person I have to suck up to today, our general evaluator, Mr. Dave Licata.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, do I see any guests? Oh, but next week is the big guest week. It is the job of the general evaluator to evaluate the Toastmaster of the day and those chosen to evaluate the speeches. Because we're on Zoom, and I can't help myself because I did study television, there's going to be a lot of notes about your TV presence. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Did Kate ever get back?
I did. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. I just have a real quick quote. I won't overindulge. It is from Sarah Addison Allen. It looked like the world in November was covered in a cobbler crust of brown sugar and cinnamon. That's November. It's covered in brown sugar and cinnamon. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Well, I think that covers our jobs today. I'll say a few more words before we get to table topics, which I know is everybody's favorite part of the meeting. No. As I mentioned, Halloween's over. Transition. What's next? Well, several things. First and foremost, it's time to put the outside world to bed for the winter. She's working in her flower beds. I'm out working in the garden. Believe it or not, yesterday I just picked a couple bushels of peppers because we didn't get a frost down there on top of the lake yet. I still have some more things to go out and harvest and prep for the winter. We're putting away all our summer stuff. Kind of a sad thing, put away the summer chairs, the umbrellas. But fall is also a fun time of year. And we also have to look forward to the holidays. And I'll talk more on that later. Now I'd like to introduce our table topics master, Mike Licata.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Good morning again, fellow Toastmasters. This is a great theme this morning. I know everything is transition in the fall as we get ready for everyone finishes up harvest and they decide to move on towards the holiday season. So the first thing I'd like to talk about this morning is traditions. What fall traditions you have, and I will start with Phil Russell, because he doesn't have a job this morning. Phil, what are some of your fall traditions? What do you do this time of year? What do you enjoy doing this time of year? Phil Russell.
Well, Mr. Table Topics Master, my favorite thing to do is overindulge in football. That's my favorite thing in the fall. Ever since I was a little kid, I enjoyed football. For those of you that need to have a history lesson, when I saw the New York Giants, I believe it was, in that famous football game, and it was all in snow. It actually was not snowing there, but our television was all snow. It was quite a game. After that, football sprung into the prime light of professional football, anyways, into the prime of television. Sunday now is supposed to be owned for church. But to most people, Sunday now is owned by professional football. Like it or not, it is owned by it. I heard somebody say that. I couldn't believe what he said, but he is absolutely right. More people just tune in on football on Sunday afternoon than anything else. Now, they have oversaturated the market a little bit with Thursday, Monday, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, Sunday night. However, I can overindulge and do that completely. The other thing I do is I overindulge on the college games, because this past weekend had a great opportunity to go down to Syracuse to watch the Notre Dame Irish play the Syracuse Orange, and it was a good game. It's an entirely different atmosphere in a dome and at the college level. It's very interesting to see the difference. Now, high school is now on television in Western New York and across the country. So I have several teams across the country I watch. And locally, I always try to watch as many local teams as possible. So that's my overindulgence football. Mr. Topics Master.
Thank you, Phil. And now I will turn to Jill Roaring. What other traditions besides tending to your garden do you do in the fall, and what other fun fall activities do you have? So,
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Well, Halloween, of course, is a major fall activity for us. It takes a massive amount of work ahead of time. And now it's taking a massive amount of work after. The gardening, not only putting everything to bed, putting all my garden sillies away in the basement, all my birds, but also all the flower bulbs, which right now are sitting in boxes and bags in my greenhouse area, waiting for me to start doing it, start digging the holes. And I got an email notification yesterday that the last batch will be here Friday. They are definitely in overindulgence for me. I think I have about 1,500 to put in the ground. Yeah, I get a gasp on that one, aren't I? Oh, yes, that will take me some time. Hopefully, I will get them all on the ground before fall is over with. Because if I don't, I will be planting them all the way through. And I remember one time many years ago, I was planting flower bulbs on New Year's Eve day. They came up nicely. You can keep planting them all the way through as long as you can get in the ground. It just, they may not actually grow to their full potential the first year. After that, they look nice. Because flower bulbs are not a one-time thing usually. They are permanent and they multiply. And they overindulge us completely, not only in my buying, but in the aftermath. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
thank you, Jill. And our next speaker will be Eric Schneider. I know he's on his alternate speaker, but we have all three speakers here this morning. So Eric, what are some of your fall transition, not habits, but some of your fall transition experiences? Eric Schneider.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I don't want to overindulge, but the transition habits when I will rush home from work and turn on the TV to see, or on my phone to see if Star Wars 2.5 is going to start playing their Christmas music, which they already have. And, I talk to friends of mine, they go, yes, I'm ready for Christmas music. I got my Spotify ready. I got my playlist ready. And there's other people like, no, it's too early. So I'm kind of like balancing between, yes, I want to listen to Christmas music. No, I don't want to listen to Christmas music. I got other stations to listen to. So it's like a balancing act right now. But again, I don't want to overindulge, but I'll listen to some Christmas music and then I'll just switch to another station to listen to. Or like right now it's beautiful running weather. I'd rather just not go to class and I'll just go out running because there's a 5K. There's like a couple 5Ks I want to get in this month because it's been, 3 years since I've done running. So it's going to be a little bit of a transition trying to get back into 5K races. It'll be a transition to get back into Christmas music. So it's going to be something. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Eric. And with that, I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster to call for reports. Thank you.
So can I have a timers report on our speakers?
Yes, our speakers all qualified on time. Fortunately for us, no one overindulged, although a couple came close to that. Phil came in at 2:09. Jill came in at 2:02. I was really sad we don't have anyone in our club named Bill because that would have just been perfect. But Eric came in at 1:37. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a word master's report?
I am pleased to announce that all three contestants used the word overindulge. As a matter of fact, they used it several times. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. So you can vote for Phil, Jill, or Eric for best table topics of the day. Jill wasn't telling you the half of it when I was talking about putting things away for the winter. Besides all the bulbs she needs to put in the ground, we have, what, about 100 crocks of elephant ears. They're a tropical plant. Oh, you only had 50 left. Oh, that's good. But they have to wait till the frost hits them. Then she has to dig them all out of the pots, chop the tops off, load them into boxes, and those bulbs go in the basement to be replanted again next spring. She made quite the business of that this year because she did have well over 100, so she decided to sell a few of them. And as she says, now we're down to about 50. Well, they're also a gift that keeps on giving. They will divide and make more another year, so they'll keep on going. Many of the bulbs, as she mentioned, you put them in the ground, they divide and keep making more flowers over time, which every now and then you got to bust that up and spread the bulbs out, plant them elsewhere. That's an ongoing job. My garden, most garden plants are annual. The pepper, actually peppers would be a constantly growing thing down in a tropical climate, but up here, as soon as the cold hits them, they shut down. About the only thing that shuts down faster than peppers are my eggplants. I still got some of those to scratch. The plants are dying down, but I was just checking them out while I was picking peppers. They're quite firm, so I can get all them before I lose them. But everything in the garden is an annual, so all I gotta do is pick what's still fit to pick and then just turn everything into the ground and get it ready for next year. And also, I brought this up for a reason. Let's have a toast. Transition, looking back finally to the past and looking forward to the future. Transition. So now we can get into our speaking portion. Our first speaker today is Mark Crane, and he's being evaluated by Len Thornton.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. This morning, Mark will be giving his second speech. I don't believe he's selected Pathways path yet, so I'll just evaluate this on a general speech basis. This is 5 to 7, Mark?
Probably on the lean side, probably at 5.
Okay, he's committing 5 to 7, Madam Timer, and I know that our Toastmaster of the day has the title. Thank you.
Mark Crane, who is speaking today? Holidays, transition, and my life. Mark Crane.
Morning, fellow Toastmasters, and those of you who are at home. I chose to stay with the theme of the transition, Halloween and holidays, but mainly working through a milestone of my own life. And that milestone was suggested by a song several years ago. And I know you will know the song when I tell you what it is. It's amazing that singing and music on the radio has become such a thing with our lives. It's gone in tune with us as we go along. As soon as we could hear a tune, we would associate that with a memory. And when that arrives again, whether it's on in person or on the radio or TV, we do see that it brings back those fond memories that you have, and sometimes some bad memories. And the one milestone that I do remember, and I know everyone probably in the United States that had a TV on a Sunday night. We only had what, maybe 3.5 channels if you got some Canadian ones. And you know, that was difficult too, because they were kind of hazy. And sometimes if you got something out of Quebec, it was in French. So I couldn't really be helped there. So we would definitely tune into the radio. AM radio was king for us, especially when we were younger. And the Beatles came on, the Sullivan Show. And I think most of America tuned in. And even though the young men of the day who were rockers and rather old stylish, they weren't very won over by the Fab Four. But they got to like these men and change their tune because, of course, young men want to get with and be near young women. So they had to adopt Beatle music and listen to it, even if it bothered them at first. But we saw that because if we were watching that, we were watching either Disney or Bonanza on Sunday night. So you really didn't have a choice. In my household, it was a Western or an Eastern, a cop show or a Western. And my dad, he was a cowboy. He was a county sheriff. So it really went up both genres he really liked. Well, the song I picked from the Beatles was When I'm 64. And an excellent song. I always thought of that. I said, God, when I get to that level, that's going to be a milestone for me. You know, wow. And back then it was like, if you hit 30, you weren't cool anymore. But the Beatles, when they hit 30, they were still current. They were still relevant. And so they changed the perception in the youth of what was current and what was acceptable and trend setting. And I know a lot of young men, they said the Beatles were just commercial and the Stones and this, and I don't want to get in that argument because we could be here all day. But when I'm 64, seemed to be a target. If I could ever live that long to get to 64, I said, well, God, that's quite the accomplishment. And shortly thereafter, a traditional time to retire is they were saying, you know, the target date was being 65. Well, we know that's not entirely true on your circumstances or with the fact that in some cultures, and even though our culture's backed up a little bit, our longevity is during this COVID crisis is actually slackened off. I think we lost a couple of years during the last 18 months, but that's yet to be seen. But we went to dinner last night and I thought it was my last chance I could sing in public to my wife. And I was going to sing When I'm 64 to her. And of course, I like to embarrass her in public. I got a chance to be on a gondola out in Vegas. And I serenaded my wife. We were at a destination wedding. And the gondolier, I think that's how you pronounce that, he tried to chime in. He wanted to sing to my wife too. And I said, hey, buddy, this is a solo. And I had my tuxedo on. We were going to the wedding, and I sang to my wife. And these people on the sidelines, they started cheering. I'll leave it to you whether or not you want to cheer. I'm going to sing for you tonight. I'm starting to get my voice back, but bear with me, and we'll see how it goes. Beatles lyrics, When I'm 64. When I get older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine? If I've been out to 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? You'll be older too.